Hey everyone, it's Pat Mesiti here, and I thought I'd dress up for the occasion, knowing that my VIP guest Joel Jammal is a smart dressed man. Well, what a backflip. What a backflip. And those of you that are here on Telegram, thank you. Those on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram will be joining us in a little while. I got some great things to announce towards the end of the program. Two very special announcements. Number one, about our meetings in Adelaide, which is not this Sunday, the following Sunday in Adelaide. It's going to be great. We'll put the address up there. It's a Sunday morning, Sunday night. That's coming live and in person. Haven't been to Adelaide for a while. And there it is, Awakening Meetings with Pat Mesiti, Sunday the 14th, 10 a.m., 6 p.m. And then on Monday the 15th, we're doing a pastors, leaders, community leaders luncheon. That's at Harvest Church in Morfett Vale. My great friend, Pastor Marty Emmanuel and his team. Listen, get there, whether you're a believer, whether you're not, get your friends, come along. I promise you, I'll challenge you, I'll make you laugh, I'll make you cry. But more importantly, we're going to see a change in this nation. And then, of course, we're going over to the following week. We'll be in Bow Desert at Harvest Point. And again, we're going to be marketing on radio, TV, everywhere you can see. Every platform you can imagine. We're going to be there at oh great, here's the boys, they put up the dates already, we're going to be at Harvest Church 14th and 15th. That's in Adelaide, South Australia. And then after that we are headed, that's at 130 States Road, Morfett Vale. November 21, 22, Bow Desert, Harvest Point. Again, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Monday morning, Monday night. Got a great music team coming on board. Now they're at 25 Walker Road, Glen Eagle. You're all welcome. Tell your friends. It's going to be absolutely amazing. We are really going to shake this nation back to God. Then the 28th and 29th, we're at Victory Church on the north side of Brisbane. Again, morning and evening at 32 Castledine Road, Bridgeman Downs. And again, Monday morning, Monday night. And then December 5 and 6 at the Reach Up for Christ Auditorium on the Gold Coast. The whole city is combining for that. You want to make sure you are part of that. I'll be live in person. Rodney Howell-Brown will be with me. Jurgen Matthesius working on Mario Murillo. You never know. We may even stream Joel Jammal in. Well, the Premier of New South Wales, Dominic Raab, a man who supposedly was a man of his word. We held great aspirations. He caved in. I don't know whether he was bullied by a particular shock jock, who is a bully, I might add, in the likes of Mr. Ray Hadley. And he tends to get his way. Funny how a bully does that. And I have no problems mentioning Ray. He's mentioned me a lot over the years, so time we get some payback with old Ray. And Dominic seems to have caved in. We went from 70% to 80% to 90%, now to 95%. Let me quote to you a quote by Dominic Raab, 24th of the 9th, 2021. I want to see more unity and not have a two-tiered society here. Dominic, broken promise, betrayal, or an outright lie? Did you try to deceive us? Joel Jammal, what's your take on all of this, my friend?
Honestly, I'm really disappointed with what's been happening with Dominic. I mean, it's no surprise, obviously, for us, for people that have been following politics for a while. I'm young, but I've been following this for long enough to know that politicians lie. With politicians, often, you expect them to sort of, you put a hand out and you're like, okay, this is your opportunity to really put your best foot forward and show us what you're made of. Now, unfortunately, he's lost his chances. It was 3 strikes and he was gone. And one of the early strikes that we saw was his comments towards teachers, and that was ridiculous. That was absolutely ridiculous what we saw. But I guess today I really want to show people exactly how outrageous some of the stuff he said in the past that he's now backflipped on. It's ridiculous because, we pride ourselves in holding people accountable to their word. Your word is your bond. That's what it's meant to be in society. Yet now we can't take anything for what he says. We can't believe a thing he says right now. I mean, he once said vaccine passports are a thing that's not going to it's only temporary. I can't believe that now. I guess everything else he said is a lie. So I guess today's about reminding people, just like we did with Gladys when she backflipped on lockdowns, that these are the things that he said only within the last month. I mean, some of these clips are only from, September or even October. I mean, it's ridiculous what he said. But if you want, Pat, we can go to the first clip and hear what he said.
Joel, the floor is yours, mate. The floor is yours.
So the first clip is from the 12th of October. No worries. So this first clip, it's from the 12th of October, and it's a interesting interview where he had with Alan Jones on Sky News at night at 8 p.m. Funny because tonight's Alan Jones' last night of doing Sky News because he didn't renew his contract. But it's a really interesting clip because what it shows is the back and forth between Alan Jones with Parity, where it's one of his first few interviews in that first few days. So you sort of see Alan prodding him to see exactly what he's all about. Now, Dominic was telling, us a lot of the things we wanted to hear, obviously. And now it's important that we hear exactly what he has to say so that we can hold him accountable. So we're going to play the first clip and we'll have a bit of a discussion.
As I've said before, it's people by their innate human dignity, by the fact that they're born in this nation, they are born free. People have made enormous sacrifices to keep people safe. We've had to keep some of those restrictions in place, but I want to get rid of those restrictions and open up our society to be flourishing as quickly as possible. But we want to do it in a safe way. And I believe, based on the sacrifices and the efforts of people across the state, we'll be able to do that sooner rather than later.
Good on you. Very, very impressive observations. Premier, will you just you mentioned advice before. Will you automatically accept the health advice, which after all is only advice? I mentioned last week the British Health Secretary, Sajid Javid, who said at the Conservative conference that his health advice comes from the Scientific Advisory Group for Emergencies, who are, quote, entitled to come to their own decisions. And he said, I'm entitled not to listen. Do you agree with that?
What I agree with, Alan, is that this seeming view that somehow the public service make the decisions on behalf of the elected officials is completely false. You can't hide behind advice. Ultimately, the buck stops with me as Premier, with the executive who make the decisions. We have listened to, and it's important that we do listen to the health advice, and we do that. We listen to the economic advice and the mental health advice. All of these, the role of the public service. The role of the public service is to provide fearless and frank advice to its elected officials, and it's the role of the elected officials to consider that advice and make the best decisions they believe are in the interest of the people of New South Wales or their constituents.
Premier, what people are saying is this advice. We've never...
There we have it. There we have it, guys. He said that it's up to the politicians to take the health advice, take the economic advice, and ultimately the buck stops with him. The buck stops with him. So he can't say, like he's been saying in the last few days, that, we've got to wait for the health advice and this and that to come back, because that's the easy thing to happen. He doesn't want responsibility. We've become a society, and Pat always talks about this, where we dilute responsibility because no one wants to take responsibility for their actions, because no one wants to have that conversation with, a grieving mother, that this person's actually, died from COVID. Yet they will not have the conversation with a friend of mine that commits suicide. And that's where we are right now. And that's why we need to vote these people out. Dominic, you had a chance, you really did. And so that's 2 strikes in that video. The first one was that you are free when you are born. That's essentially what he said. And the second one was that he is responsible for his own actions. Pat, what did you think about that clip?
Look, when I listen to that, I'll tell you what I hear. And one, I hear a guy who wants to do the right thing, but no commitment. I don't hear a commitment. And then when he made a commitment, he changed it. And what they do constantly is say, well, with the best health advice, well, with this. Dominic, when you opened up the state, your cases went down. That means people in freedom have more stronger power in themselves to resist maladies. And remember, Dominic, you need to understand this, and I'm speaking to him, but speaking to all of us. that this so-called pandemic, you'd be hard-pressed to find it if you didn't turn on the news. 99.7% of people overcome. I don't want to get through all the statistics. I've done them before. But there is no commitment in there. Dominic is doing double talk just like Scott Morrison does. They all went to the same school as far as I'm concerned. They really did.
It's absolutely ridiculous. You know, when it comes to Dominic talking about these issues, he knows what's going on. He made all the right sounds. There was another Sky interview that he did, I think, with I forgot, Andrew Clennell. And this was right when he became Premier. And he was saying similar things, that, you know, you have, you know, the right to freedom. That's the right you've been born with. What happened, Dominic? Did you, you know, I know it's a crude way of putting it, but did your balls drop off? I mean, did your family get threatened? You've completely flipped on this stuff, and I don't understand why, because you're from the conservative faction of the Liberal Party. Now we're all, you know, more convinced, more than ever, that you have to go. And you know what? That could happen, guys, sooner than you might think. We've got 5 by-elections coming up. You know, they could be as soon as December. I don't think they will be on the 4th. I think they'll probably be in February next year or later. And it's ridiculous to think that he has the arrogance to take these voters for advantage. But we'll come to that in a bit. There are 3 more clips I want to play for you guys.
You know, but before I want to say something to the voting people of New South Wales. Don't go voting for minority parties like they did in Melbourne, like the Sex Party and Darren Hinch's party and all these, you know, lefty crazy parties and the Greens. You need to vote Conservative right. That's what you need to do of the minor parties. They need a good jolly scare and to be told that they are the servants of the people. They are not there to lord over the people. I believe Dominic caved into bullying shock jocks, in particular one, I think, or certain parts of his cabinet, like Biohazard, who is, again, a bully. This guy, the Biohazard, Joel, basically wants everything that moves jabbed, including your cat and your dog. I mean, seriously, this guy is the kind of guy, you know, that, they're finding the virus in the sewer. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Brad? Are you going to throw Pfizer in the sewer? I mean, seriously, mate, you know, these guys are out of control. And remember, Biohazard is a bureaucrat, and Kerry Kant is right down the road of the same narrative. And if she changes her mind, she has egg all over her face. But Joel, absolutely. Back to you, and I think you've got some more to say. You're a lot more calmer than me. I have a daughter in Sydney I can't see, and my blood's boiling right now. And
well, I don't blame you. You know, I live pretty well, you know, with all that's going on. So I mean, I've got that, but at the same time, it takes a lot to rile me up. But when it comes to what's been going on with these clips, some of them are quite astounding. And the next one you'll see, he talks about the vaccine passport. So in a second, we're going to play that, and we're going to see exactly what he said, so we can hold him to account.
I understand there's different views on this front.
So
I want to open up as quickly as possible. I mean, you're a vaccine passport man? We see these as a short-term solution so that we can open up now for those people who have received a double-dose vaccination, but we do not see this as a long-term solution. And Victor Dominello, the Customer Service Minister, is very focused on this. As you quite rightly say, that's what's happened in the UK. They serve a short-term purpose so we can open up safely, but it's not something that we see as a long-term solution for this issue.
Premier, just on hospitality, the hospitality industry was told that the limit on the number of people you could have for a group booking would be scrapped. The roadmap said no person limit in hospitality settings. That was on the government website last Thursday morning, agreed to by Berejiklian and Barilaro before they resigned. It's reported that you chaired a meeting of senior ministers to accelerate freedoms, because that's part of your philosophy. What happened to scrapping the booking limit? I mean, the industry feels this is a slap in the face.
Let's cut it there.
A mistake was made, Alan, because
guys don't really need to hear about. He's basically talking about the retail industry and the restaurants and how bookings work there. Bit of minutiae you guys don't need to hear about. But the main part there was the vaccine passports. He said it's only for a short time. I can't take his word for that. This isn't a promise broken yet. I suspect that he is going to break, and I suspect this passport is going to be around a lot longer than we thought. But Pat, what did you think about that?
Joel, here's the thing. They never define what short time is. I mean, honestly, you know, the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years to the Lord. And so these guys, their day is like 1,000 years. Could you please, Dominic, can you please define what you mean by short term? Because history shows, viewers, listen to me. And Joel, you know this. Freedoms that are taken are rarely given back freely by dictators and by governments. So I would like to see him define that, Joel. Wouldn't you like to? What is it, a month, 2 months, 3 months? Now, they've got modelling for everything, which is, by the way, wrong. Their data on what was going to happen in New South Wales as far as the spread of the disease was supposed to be in the thousands. Well, we're now, you know, in the 100. They never change their rhetoric based on their skewed and often wrong modelling and statistics. The scaremongers, they raise the bar of fear, and then guys like Dominic come in and give you a little bit of hope, and then bang, take it away. Yeah. This is called mind control. Sorry, Joel, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm reminded of the quote just listening to you from Ronald Reagan, where he said, "There's nothing more permanent than a temporary government program." I think it's hilarious, you know, what's going on in this country, because we're seeing a soft form of socialism happen, and no government, not even the Conservative Party, the major party, is rolling it back. And we're seeing this in every country. It happened under Donald Trump. He blew out the national debt. We're seeing it happen under Boris Johnson. There is no fiscal responsibility. And unfortunately, being the 24-year-old that I am, I'm the one that's going to have to deal with it. All these people that are making policy now and spending now, they're selling off our future, my future, Generation Z and the millennials' future. And, you know, we're going to have to pick up the pieces. Like, there are people in my generation, mark my words, if we don't fix this, they're going to be digging up the parliamentarians' graves in the future because of we're going to turn into Venezuela if we can't turn this around. And a lot of people don't understand what that means. That means our paper money, our plastic money is going to be worth nothing. We're going to need trolleyfuls worth of the thing to actually, you know, buy a loaf of bread, just like in Weimar Germany before World War II. This isn't a place where we're going down.
And you know what, Joel, and again, I know my platform reaches everyone, believers, non-believers, so I'm not here to preach at anyone, but, you know, the good book actually says that a piece of bread will buy a bag of gold. And I want to remind all my Christian leaders out there, I want to remind you of this. What part of without this mark you can't buy, sell, trade, move, go to church, go to a wedding? What part of this that's found in the good book are you not seeing? And I'm not saying that this is the mark, but it's pretty well a prototype and a preconditioning of what is to come. And some of you are walking around blindly ignoring this. At the altar of compliance, wokeness, compromise, and your people are hurting. And I appeal to those of you that are in leadership, spiritual, governmental, and community. You need to speak up more, louder. And if need be, we need to call these guys out. Joel, over to you, my friend.
Absolutely. And I mean, the next clip we're going to see is Dominic going, it's one of his first promises that he broke. And a lot of the teachers turned to me and said, "Joel, well, I thought you said this guy was all right." And I said, "Look, he's apparently from the most conservative faction of the Liberal Party, but that doesn't mean we look away from him." So let's play the next clip. You guys will see what I'm talking about related to teachers.
We're in a position that those teachers who are attending school in face-to-face learning are double vaccinated, and we'll make sure that's the case.
That's not okay. Where did that happen? Where did that come from? The double vaccinated. We don't need there. As far as I'm aware, and please, guys, I mean this. Send me a correction on this. As far as I'm aware, I have not seen one documented case of a child anywhere around the world, anywhere, give COVID to their teacher. I haven't seen it. Children are not the chief vectors of the virus. And so when it comes to what's happening with teachers being double jabbed, it's like, okay, I get it. You know, if you're older and you want to be jabbed, no worries. But that should be a choice. You should not be mandating this stuff. It should never be mandated. And you know, like, I genuinely think their vaccine rollout would have gone a lot smoother if they didn't make everyone paranoid by these mandates. I think it was ridiculous.
Joel, I said on our program here the other day, and I'm asking one of the TV networks, any of them, if we do it to our crowd, we know what the answer is going to be. But if they did a national poll on how many people would have gotten the right thing done if they weren't coerced, bribed, threatened that they'd lose their jobs, not be able to see their families, not attend worship, not play sport. I've got one of my mates, one of my great mates, I won't mention his name, but he has 2 children who are incredible sportsmen. Now, they can't play basketball unless they're doubly shot. These are some of the youngest, fittest young men you will ever meet. This is for young people who have less than a 0.00 whatever it is percent of spreading and getting the disease. But they need to do that because they might pass it on to an elderly person. As you said, give me some cases where a child had passed it on. Just give me some. And show me the science, actual science. Here's the problem with science. The science is set up. I don't believe some of the science. For example, if I own a pharmaceutical company, do you think I'm going to show you the science that discredits my stuff? Have you seen what's happened with Merck in America today? Go and look it up. Merck in America. What they've done as far as their policies now in related to the jabs. Have a look. I'm not going to put it up here. You guys go and have a look at it for yourselves. Be educated. There's almost in some of these people, and by the way, I noticed as soon as Merck came out with some therapeutics for the disease, the Pfizers of this world, their stocks plummeted. And I'm here to tell you, this fish stinks from the head down. None of it is making sense. If you would have told us this time last year, as we're heading into Christmas, that we would be under more and more difficult restrictions than last year, apart from the lockdowns that we had, you would have called us conspiracy theorists. What's the difference between someone saying something like this, that this is about to happen, and a conspiracy theorist? From fulfillment to conspiracy to fulfillment, about 3 months, and about 4 or 5 lying politicians. That's about it. Joel, I know you've got some more clips you want to show us.
Yeah, I do. So the next one, and by the way, tech guys, I've just sent you one last one. That's going to be the last one I play. But this next one I've got, it's his next promise that he actually broke. He said that things would open up from the 1st of December for the jabbed and the unjabbed. He said he didn't want to see a 2-tiered society. Yet, we've been seeing that up until the 1st of December. So he broke that promise. So let's play this next clip and see what happens.
But ultimately as well, we want a united society, and we believe that by moving that date back to the 15th of December, it will incentivise, and we are hopeful that we can get that rate up to 95%. That will not just be nation leading, it will be world leading as well.
So we see a situation where he's trying to push it to a 95% jab rate. I mean, what are you doing, Dom? Like, this is ridiculous what you're trying to do. 95% is basically 100%. And, I saw a really funny that there's this, you guys have heard of the Babylon Bee. There's an equivalent in Australia called, I think it's the barbecue. And it basically says this: Parity says the unvaccinated can enjoy the same freedoms once the state reaches 100% double dose. Well, of course, it's like there will be there's no dissent at that point, of course. And then they'll start looking at the boosters. But it's like, Dom, you're going against literally everything you said. As Pat Mesiti started the episode with, Dominic was on a radio show on the 24th of the 9th this year in September. And he said a bunch of things. He says, once every single person in the state has had the opportunity to be jabbed, then we should be open for everyone. He said, I want to see more unity and not a 2-tiered society. That's the quote Pat started with. It's not the government's role to provide freedom. What happened to that Dominic Perrottet? Did his kids get threatened? Did something happen? Did his balls drop off? Guys, I know it's crude, but I need to know what happened to this guy. This is not the same guy. It's not.
I'll tell you, the bureaucrats and the lobbyists have got to him. Prove us wrong, Dominic. Come, I'll tell you what. Dominic, open invitation. Open invitation. Joel and I will sit there and we'll ask you some questions straight up. Open invitation. I know you're a busy guy, but come and speak to the 30 or 40% of your electorate that don't agree with you. Let me tell you one thing that he said, because Joel, my mum used to say to me, listen to what someone's not telling you. Let me tell you what he said that gives it away. He said, not only will this be a first, it will be world leading. Dominic, we don't want to be world leaders. Maybe you do. Maybe the New World Order agenda has positioned you to be world leading. Again, Australians, can you see this? America, Canada. Australia is the prototype for these rolls out, for these mandates, for these draconian dictatorial laws. It happens here first. We're the prototype. Prove me wrong. And he wants to be world leading. You know what we want, Dominic? And I think, Joel, you'll concur. We don't want to be the world leader at 95%. We want to be leading our families to the free society that we thought we had. Now, Dominic, let me ask you a question as a father. If you couldn't see your child for 4 or 5 months, how would you feel? You're a good Catholic boy. You're about to have another one. How would you feel, Dominic? How would you feel? And you're wondering why we're angry when we can't see our own? And it's your fault, because you want to be a world leader. We don't want you to be a world leader. We want you to be the leader of New South Wales and be a great example in this country so that your other fellow dictators can take your example. Joel?
Yeah, look, I've actually got, and this is what it plays into. It's not like he can't do this and be successful. It's not like that at all. You alluded to other forms of leadership. Look at Florida. What's going on in Florida? Ron DeSantis, awesome Republican governor, doing a phenomenal job, unapologetic, and he's leading the nation out of all of the states in reducing the amount of people actually ending up in hospital. He's doing a really good job. And here is a clip. This is what he thinks of Australia. And I've got the clip right here for you guys.
Here, if you guys look what's going on in Australia right now, they're enforcing, after a year and a half, they're still enforcing lockdowns by the military. And that's not a free country. It's not a free country at all. In fact, I wonder why we would still, have the same diplomatic relations when they're doing that. I mean, is Australia freer than China, communist China right now? I don't know. The fact that that's even a question tells you something has gone dramatically off the rails with some of this stuff. And so I think
that's what our allies think about us.
Yeah. Joel, any final words? I mean, you're one of the sharpest minds in this country. And, you and I both come from ethnic backgrounds, and we have a great love for this country because we know what our parents had to do to give us a life here. And I'm very grateful for that. And I know you are as well. Is there any final words? I know you're flat out and busy, and, and by the way, congratulations what you guys are doing with Turning Point and some of the other things you're doing. And we just, again, want to thank you for what you're doing. Any final thoughts from you? You got a free shot at it, Joel. Let's go for it. And then where do we find you?
Awesome. Yeah, look, first off, I'll start off with the sharpest mind in the country. I don't know about that. I'm just.
I said one off.
Yeah, I was gonna say. There's a lot of amazing people in this country, and the problem that they have is they're just not speaking up. And I guess my role, and I guess your role to an extent as well, Pat, is giving people that voice so that they can feel that they can do that. One of the greatest contributions Donald Trump did during his years was be the bull in the china shop. He smashed through the PC culture, people worried about and tiptoeing around, the woke people that are like, oh, you can't say that you're a racist or a sexist or a, homophobe. He smashed through that and said, no. This is how I play. This is how I work. And I will not be apologetic about my beliefs. I believe in the family. I believe in a constitutional republic. That's what he said. And those are the values that he truly believed. We could use a dose of bravery in this country, of leadership, of courage, and of course of Christ. Now, How do we get out of this? A lot of people are like, oh, no, I thought Dominic was the one that was going to save us. Guys, newsflash, I've been telling you from the start, no one's going to save you but you. I'm here to guide you. Pat's here to guide you. But ultimately, it's going to be you that stands up to your board on critical race theory. It's going to be you that stands up to them on dangerous sexual teachings that they do in schools. It's going to be you that votes on your how to vote card at the next election. We can guide you, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to you and having conversations and having the bravery. You know, Pat and I, we get really annoyed when we see people come up to us and say, good job, Joel. I really like what you're doing, Pat. You're doing a brilliant job, Pat. You know, I back you all the way. And then when Pat says, well, come on, join me in the light. Then you say, oh, no, that's not for me. I couldn't do that. It's like, no, okay, hang on a sec. You know, why are you saying that? Because you don't want to risk your income for your kids, because you don't want to risk your income from yourself or your family, so you've got obligations. Last I checked, Pat has obligations. Last I checked, Pat's married. Last I checked, a lot of the people speaking up right now, they have more skin in the game than they probably should. And they come after us more than we like to admit. A lot of it's private, so we don't tell you guys. Whether it's police visits, whether it's financial, whether it's being sued, whether it's defamation, it's everything. So we've got it all on the line. The least you could do is speak up for your own interests and that of your children. You say you want to protect your children and provide for your children, but what are you doing for their future? It doesn't matter if you feed them for the next few weeks, for the next few months, for the next few years. It doesn't matter if you pay that mortgage off if it gets seized by the government, because that's where we're going. Socialism is here. We're trying to wake you up as much as we can, but there's only so much we can do without you guys. So we're here. We're holding your hands. We can win this, believe it or not. I know it looks bad, but we can actually win this. And I'm really excited to see how the next year goes. So with Dominic Parity, Dom, you've taken these people's votes for too long. You've taken them for granted, just like in Democrat America, they took the black and the Hispanic votes for granted. And in Virginia, they got smashed because they have been taking these people's votes for granted. They've been preaching critical race theory and not representing their crowd. And the same thing's coming for you. I cannot promise it for the by-elections, but absolutely watch the federal election. Watch the state election in 2023. You may be the youngest premier, but I can assure you of one thing: you may be the shortest serving if you keep this crap up.
Joel, thanks so much. Now, Joel, where do we find you? Obviously, on your YouTube and Telegram, and can you tell people where they can find you? I've got some incredible stuff to tell you in a second. Joel, where do we find you?
Sure. Yeah, just search Joel Jammal, guys. It's in the description. There's the same spelling, at Joel Jammal. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook here. Also, you know, I'm on Telegram. That's the safest place to find me. And yeah, guys, look, if you want to support the work that Pat's doing, you know how to support him. If you want to support the work that I'm doing, but the best thing you can do other than donating is sharing. You please share this. Share it to everyone, because it gets the word out. It allows more people to hear the common sense knowledge, and it's the number one thing you can do. So please give it a share.
Yep. I want to share, Joel, before we close off today. I want to read. Now, listen, I know a lot of you not believers, but I want you to listen to a verse from the Psalms. Please listen. Come on, we're always in trouble. We go to Psalm 23. I'm going to read this from 3 translations. Psalm 94, verse 20 says, "Can a corrupt throne be allied with you, or one that brings misery by its decrees?" Let me read you another translation, the Amplified. Psalm 94, verse 20. "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with you, those who frame and hide their unrighteous doings under the sacred name of the law?" Let me read it to you in another translation. "Can unjust leaders claim that God is on their side, leaders who decrees permit injustice?" Let me give you one more translation. "Can the throne of iniquity, the throne of wrongdoing," watch this, "can the throne of iniquity, which devises laws by evil, have any fellowship with you?" This is what Dominic, Palaszczuk, Mark McGowan, Dictator Dan, and by the way, where's the news on IBAC? I'm kind of concerned about that. Dictator Dan, who can fine children for not wearing a mask. And these are These are thrones, rulers, devising laws that are wrong. And some of my preacher friends, and again, I'm not naming, I'm appealing, you could turn this around, especially in New South Wales, especially in Queensland, Perth. Come on, we can do this. We can turn this around. Now, for me, I'm hitting the road. In the states that are allowing me in, we're starting next weekend in Adelaide. And if you guys could just help me with that, in Adelaide, next Sunday, Monday, 14th and 15th, we're going to be at Harvest Church. And again, it's not a churchy, I'll be preaching, I'll be speaking, I'll be doing inspiration, I'll be doing a whole lot. Awakening meetings with Pat Mesiti, Sunday, 14th of November in Adelaide at Harvest Church, 10 a.m., 6:30 p.m. and Monday, leaders and community leaders. If you smell, look, or even dress like a leader, if you think you're in leadership material, get to that leadership meeting. Then the following weekend, we are back on the road, back in Queensland, if Palaszczuk doesn't try and block me. But here's the upcoming dates again. Let's scroll through them, brothers. Monday, 14th, 15th, Harvest Church, and the address here is at 130 States Road, Morford Vale, South Australia. The following weekend, November 21, 22, Bow Desert, Harvest Point. Come from all over Queensland. I love Bow Desert. What a great building that is as well. 25 Walker Road, Glen Eagle. And then the following weekend, we're in the north side of Brisbane, 28 and 29 at Victory Church Auditorium. And that is at 32 Castledine Road, Bridgeman Downs. And then the final one for the year, December 5 and 6 on the Gold Coast at the Reach Out for Christ auditorium in Gooding Drive there. It's very central to everybody. Plenty of room, free parking. We want you there. Now, one of the things that we need to do, we need to take control of our financial wealth. And I know many of you are hurting, many of you are suffering. If you think the government's going to look after you, listen, the pension is barely there at the poverty line. If you think the banks are going to help you, just have a look at the interest rates and what you're getting on your money. One of the things that I am committed to, the reason why I can be outspoken is because I own my own financial world and the fact that I've built my business. So no boss is going to tell me what I can stick in my body or can't. No one can tell me what I can and can't do. The fear of loss is a terrible thing. Listen to me. Listen to me. I need you all to listen. The fear of loss causes us to go against our conscience, causes us to bow, causes us to compromise. And that's why I understand some of the struggles that my church leader friends are struggling with. I know they're fearing loss, but you don't have to if you take control. Now, next Wednesday, I'm hosting a special financial freedom seminar. I was a big skeptic of the crypto thing. Well, now I'm a convert. And if you come along to this event, now I can only accommodate about 500 people at a time. Now I'm doing one in the morning, one in the evening with one of the world's leading educators in this whole area. Listen, just come and get educated. No one's forcing you to do anything. The future belongs to those that are educated. So go to www.mesiti.com/crypto. Please register now. Don't leave it to the last minute. You may not get a spot. And remember, I can only have 500 in the morning. Of course, you know this audience is global, going everywhere. So we will have 500 allowed in the morning and 500 in the evening session. Go to that website and register. Joel, I don't know if you're still there, but thank you so much for all that you do. And my regards to Mario as well. He's a great man. And Joel, you're looking sharp, brother. You made me dress up today. I thought, he 24-year-old looking sharp like that. The old guy better dress up as well. You're always a joy.
There's a background. I didn't say it before. When I went to Queensland, just briefly, and I'll let you go soon. I ended up seeing a lot of Queenslanders up there. And before I came up and did my show, I did 2 shows up there. They said, Joel, stop wearing a suit, like, yeah, you got to ease up with us. We've got to relate to you. So I was like, okay. And I took it off and I wore a singlet for one of the episodes. So I looked all right still. I had a MAGA hat on. And then I got all these comments saying, hey, why should we listen to anything you're saying? This is from the rest of Australia. They're all like, how can we take you seriously? You're saying you're just sitting there drinking, what looked like whiskey. It was actually peach iced tea. I don't drink on camera, obviously. That was where the comment came from about Queensland. But no, lovely people in Queensland. I love them. I love their laid back. It's one of my favourite places to holiday. And yeah, I can't wait to see you in person, Pat. We still haven't even met in person.
Well, we're going to get to Sydney, and I've got a very special venue that I'm looking at in Sydney when they let me down there. And
awesome.
it's going to be huge. Sydney's going to be massive. I know. I have plans. That's my old stomping ground. That's where I helped build one of the largest auditoriums in this country. I'm coming to Sydney, and I'm coming to Melbourne, and we're coming to Perth. And Joel, you'll be there with us. We'll have you there. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please share these messages. Ben and the boys, if you could just put up that link just one last time for the webinar next Wednesday at masidi.com/crypto. Just come and learn, guys. Just learn. I really believe that ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is pain. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, the boys at Damn Good Studios there. They do a great job. And, thank you, guys. Now, if you'd like a free gift, www.masidi.com/push. You can get a free gift there of our books, etc. I think it still may have the old Kim Kiyosaki webinar on there. But hey, go over there to www.masidi.com/push and get yourself some free books. Go get educated. Go learn. Hey, or you can go pay $29.95 at a bookshop. Go there, get them for free as a thank you from us to you. And thanks to the guys again for streaming us live. God bless you, everyone. Have a prosperous life.